is on the other side for the Wildcats.
And watch how Gable Steveson wrestles. He doesn't wrestle like a normal heavyweight. You're going to see right away he gets the action going quickly. Early takedown.
Steveson, the two-time national champion, the three-time Big Ten champ, and a two-time winner of the Hodge Trophy. This year 6-0, 5 by tech fall, 1 by pin.
And he's just doing what he wants with Morley right now. Like you said, quickly just gets techs, gets some back points, can kind of control where he wants. He's wrestled some good guys this season, but I'm really excited to see how he does against some of the best. Getting some swipes right now quickly, but he's looking for the tech fall today.
Near fall points in the end, and you saw Steveson kind of let go there.
Yeah, and the reason is he wants to find a different way to turn him. When you let your hands go, you get those points awarded. Referees aren't going to give you more back points until they see a different hold. But so many good things about Gable Steveson. We saw all the fans lining up early trying to get their pictures, their autographs with the Olympic gold medalist. Trying out for the Buffalo Bills this year as well. Has a lot to his accolades.
Several appearances in the WWE as well. A win today would be his 40th Big Ten regular season dual victory. And of course, a perfect 40-0 in that case.
And he's the front runner for the Hodge. I don't think there's any question about it. As the season goes on, and if he keeps this dominance, there's not going to be really anybody that can put up much of a fight.
That's hard to argue. I mean, beyond the resume, you just look at the damage he's doing so far this season, basically untouched, except when he's got guys getting escapes because he wants to set up a different attack.
Yeah, I mean, if he really wanted to, he could win all these matches 15-0 or put a guy away in 30 seconds. But he's always showcasing his offense. He's always trying to find ways to get better. He's excited to be back in the sport. You hear him talk about it. He's excited to be back in front of his home crowd at Minnesota, the Minnesota native.
And there is the tech fall. Final score 19-3. And so Steveson stretches the lead to 21-0 in favor of the Golden Gophers. We're going to take another break before we flip Navarro of Northwestern.
And we saw Cooper Flynn on Friday get a huge win, able to get a 7-point move with just 5 seconds left in the match, trailing 2 to get the victory. Not sure if there's a little bit of an injury, but able to get a ranked win, a big win for him. But Quincy Hulverson getting his second opportunity, a second career dual start, but a big opportunity for the Wildcats.
Hulverson, the redshirt sophomore out of Tia, South Dakota, taking on Dedrick Navarro of Nampa, Idaho. Navarro 12-8 on the year, 2-1 in the Big Ten. His only loss coming against then #1 Matt Ramos of Purdue.
And Ramos has been on a tear this season as Navarro just got in the way.
Navarro got the first takedown here of this match and of the second half of our action today. Thanks for joining us here this afternoon. Bit of an early start on Big Ten Plus. Navarro coming off major decision victories against both Illinois and Michigan. So to your point, Hayden, trying to get some bonus points here as well.
Yeah, and he's done a really good job on top right now. That's where he wants to be. But a couple good mat returns right there, but trying to get some sort of tilt, trying to get that wrist to the hip and lock it up for a tilt. Haven't been able to do so. I really liked what he did on that takedown right here. You're going to see right here, just gets to the legs, able to get to the other side and just drive through and get the 3.
Hulverson coming off what was a quiet second year on campus. He's got a 2-13 career record, but 10 of those matches came in his redshirt year as a freshman.
Yeah, wrestled in a couple opens this season. Hasn't seen a ton of action, but made the trip this weekend. And you always got to have your guys ready to go. And Dedrick Navarro, you look at it, the record's a little shaky here and there, but he is capable of winning some big matches. His style is very fun to watch, and he's going to catch one of these good wrestlers sometime. I think he's going to make a name for himself here as a Wildcat.
Went 1-1 in the Big Ten and limited conference dual opportunities last year. Now very much the man at 125 for Northwestern. With a throw here. No points from it yet, but asserting control here in the first period.
Yeah, he's been so good on top. A really good mat return. He could have right here. He gets that far wrist. He's trying to jack his hips up and try and get a tilt, but Good hand fighting on bottom from Hulverson.
1 minute remaining in the period.
Lots of cheering coming from the Minnesota bench.
Get out of bounds right there, and Navarro doing a really good job of riding him out, but just not able to get that tilt. Be interested to see how this second and third period go. I really want to see him do more on his feet, but maybe in the scouting report, that's what they know on Hulverson, maybe a guy that can get it done on his feet, but Navarro doing a really good job in this top position.
It's also interesting to see on the Minnesota bench, Brandon Eggum, their head coach, has not been the most vocal guy through a lot of these matches. It's been more the assistants. Lots of talking from Eggum for his young, relatively inexperienced wrestler here at 125.
And he knows it's a good opportunity for him. It's a great opportunity to get any sort of match time, any sort of air time, and he wants him to make the most of it. That's the kind of coach that Coach Eggum is, just a great coach right here. And finally getting that takedown, getting that tilt, and he's getting those back points. He got a couple before going out of bounds. Might have gotten lucky. I think Navarro might have been on outside that circle. That was close. That's a... So we're going to see a look right there, I think. Ooh, right there.
Yeah.
Maybe just a little bit able to stay in bounds, gets forward, or gets a 3-point near fall with 20 seconds to go, gets a caution right there.
The referees must have said that that right shoulder was still above the purple area, because certainly we saw there on the replay that that right shoulder blade came off the mat.
Navarro's such a twitchy athlete. You see him ready to get going and gets that caution early. Here needs a mat return right now.
Does not want to let Hulverson get a cheap escape point here with 10 seconds to go in the first period. And a really strong showing here in the opening 3 minutes at 125 for Dedrick Navarro.
Yeah, and he got that tilt again, just not able to hold on to it. He's getting that tilt on the edge of the mat, and it's really tough to keep a guy in bounds over there, so good defense there from Hulverson. Hulverson not really able to get up to his feet much in the bottom position, but he's done a really good job getting to the wrist, getting away from the strong hands of Dedrick Navarro.
As time will wind out in period 1. And you made the point, Hayden, it does feel like if Navarro is able to get into one of those tilt positions simply closer to the middle of the mat, that Hulverson could be in some real trouble.
Yeah, absolutely, and we're going to see him on top right here. Try to get some more riding time. He really feels comfortable in that top position, not going back to his feet at all. As there was a lot of opportunity for him to cut in that period.
Approaching 3 minutes already on the riding time counter. Looking for any opportunity to roll Hulverson here.
Look at Navarro really trying to get that far wrist and bring it back to that other hip. And that's where he's trying to get that tilt, but doing a really good job right here. But now Hulverson flat on the mat. This is where when you got those elbows, when you're sprawled out on the mat like that, that's where you're going to see a lot of those stalling warnings right here.
Hulverson was able to free that right arm. Protect it comes the cry from the Minnesota bench.
Right there, good tilt, uses that wrist, a strong showing there from Navarro, getting it done on top. That riding time point is now secured, and that shows you how important it is to let that build up. Effectively an 11-0 lead right now. One more tilt could end in a technical fall, and it likely will right here.
And it's a pin! We've got our first fall of the day. Nice exclamation point for Dedrick Navarro. The Wildcats are on the board. He's pumping up the crowd. Boy, did the home side need that.
And that was huge, and you talked about it on the break. Dedrick Navarro was going to have to do something special right here. Gets that tilt, and that's a tough position to do. He had the technical fall, but we're going to see it right here. If he just holds it right here, doesn't get the fall, that's a tech fall, but able to get in position to sit those hips enough as we head into our final match.
And for the last match of the day, it's two top 10 wrestlers. Number 9, Trevor Chumbley of Northwestern. Number 8, Tommy Askey of Minnesota. And Hayden, likewise, we are expecting big things and a lot of excitement in this 10th and final match of our duel today.
Oh, Tommy Askey's a lot of fun to watch. The transfer from Appalachian State, his first year here at Minnesota. His first year in the Big Ten, and he's getting used to Big Ten wrestling pretty quickly. Trevor Chumbley, one of those Big Ten guys that's ready to welcome here to the conference.
Chumbley made his season debut in the Big Ten last time out, got a decision victory against the Wolverines. The graduate student from St. Charles and Marmion Academy. Askey, meanwhile, the two-time defending champion of the Southern Conference at Appalachian State. 90-37 career record, 74-35 at App State, including a 30-win season in 2022-23. As he won those two SoCon championships, he went a perfect 15-0 in conference duels.
Yeah, and SoCon is a tough conference as well. There's always some good wrestlers that come out at the national championships every single year, but the Big Ten, a different beast. Askey getting accustomed to it, wanted a different challenge, and definitely growing as a wrestler. Love the styles between these two wrestlers. You saw right away there was some strong hand fighting, both these wrestlers trying to get to that inside tie. Askey's doing a good job right there.
And it's a nice way to round out your career. Certainly he'll be remembered for a very, very long time in Boone, North Carolina for the work he did as a wrestler, and now an opportunity on the biggest stage for the Golden Gophers.
Yeah, in Minnesota, you know, the transfer portal's a crazy world out there right there, but, you know, I love these guys that, you know, come from the smaller schools here, the NCAA, you know, in the NCAA, and then they try a chance at the Big Ten, and it's so much fun to watch to see how these guys have grown over the years, and I love these opportunities. You know, the transfer portal, it's done good for a lot of people, you know, getting some new opportunities, especially if they want to, you know, pursue an international career. You get into some of these bigger club wrestlings, and Minnesota doing a really good job out there in Minneapolis.
Chumbley, meanwhile, that win last Friday was 5-0. Just kind of a slow burn of a match that he never really gave anything to number 15, Chase Saldate of Michigan. And it's a similar pace we're seeing so far here in the first period of this final match.
Yeah, he's really good on top, and all these Wildcat wrestlers are, and that's credit to Matt Storniolo. They always, you know, do a really good in that top position.
Askey, meanwhile, still looking to pick his spots. He's got 4 major decision victories this season, but that's all for bonus points. So, much like Chumbley, a very methodical wrestler.
Not much action so far in this first period. Both wrestlers feeling each other out. I expect this maybe to be a one takedown match. We're going to see who can ride in that top position. It's going to be Askey pressed with the challenge, because we know Trevor Chumbley can do that.
And maybe what's most at stake here is seeding come Big Ten championships time. The duel is in hand for the Golden Gophers, and these guys are clearly thought of pretty equally around the country based on their rankings.
Yeah, it's really tough to, you know, grasp how good a guy actually is until they start wrestling similar opponents, and that's what the Big Ten Conference is about. You can see guys ranked really high in the preseason, but then once they start, you know, feeling some more matches out, other guys, you know, come onto the scheme just a little bit more.
And this is an example we're assuming this remains very close. These two wrestlers, when Intermat's weekly rankings come out next week, will probably be 8 and 9 again in some order, just with whoever wins at 8 and whoever loses at 9, because, again, you're only going to learn so much about these guys facing off against each other, besides potentially just confirming that they're about on the same level.
Yeah, and we're seeing that after a scoreless first period, but we're going to see who's better in the top and who's better in the bottom. So I'm really excited for in the second and third periods.
Chumbley trying to get on the attack here, being repelled well by Askey, and that toe being kept in. Is it a takedown? No, it is a stalemate.
Yeah, we'll see. A good mat return right there from Trevor Chumbley. That was really quick hits. Askey had a really good opportunity to try and get out, able to keep him on the mat.
So close to our first points of this 157-pound match. Instead, 1:30 to go here in period 2. We remain scoreless.
Yeah, and, you know, Askey's going to have to pull. So it's really tough to get to his feet right now. So he's going to have to hit some kind of switch or find a way to get back, because Chumbley's been really good with the mat returns.
Chumbley again. Can he get the match's first takedown?
Seeing that riding time go over a minute now.
Askey still doing just enough defensively to keep this scoreless. And another stalemate.
Yeah, Chumbley's not a guy who's not necessarily working towards a tilt, but he's really active with his hands and trying to get him to the mat. And as you see those weight classes go up, it's tough to tilt these guys. So the mat returns, the way you keep him on the mat, trying to flatten him out, is so important. It's also really important is how quickly you get off that whistle. As Chumbley really likes that double thigh pry, getting in on the hips of Askey.
Askey just looking for an escape, and that's proving incredibly difficult out of the clutches of Chumbley.
Yeah, in a situation like this, if you're Askey, if you go into the period tied 0-0, you got to make a decision. Do you want to try and ride out and equal out riding time just a little bit, or you have to bet on yourself on your feet? So if you're, sometimes the decision is, let's go to our feet, give me 2 minutes to try and get a takedown.
Certainly that would set up the most exciting finish if Askey's able to get an escape here and effectively tie the score at 1-1 going into round 3.
And it had to happen right there as Chumbley, really good patience on that Grammy roll right there. As right now we're going to get a count. He can afford a stall warning right here, but good job to get back to the hips. That was some really good top wrestling there from Trevor Chumbley.
After 2, we remain scoreless. That riding time looking in pretty good shape right now for Trevor Chumbley. So to your point, Hayden, it is decision time for Tommy Askey as Matt Storniolo, Northwestern head coach, looks on.
Yeah, and right here for Askey, I think the game plan here is see what you can do with the ride out. If he gets to his feet quickly, just let him go like he does right here. You got 2 minutes to get a takedown. You were going to have to get a takedown to win this match anyway. Put yourself on the line here.
Chumbley, they're all close matches. Everything decided by 6 points or less. See some wrestlers who all their matches end in bonus points. None of Trevor Chumbley's matches do. He is very comfortable and confident in these close situations, really trusts his defensive instincts and ability to keep his opponents off the scoreboard.
And that's very impressive as a wrestler too. How well can you be defensively, but how well can you be on top and bottom? And that's what that says about him. Maybe not the guy best on his feet, can get a takedown when needed, try to get the action right here. But Tommy Askey, he's quick with those hips.
Also says, though, that he's frequently in situations where his opponents are desperately looking for a takedown, and they basically never get them.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's so good. He's so quick. We're going to get a little bit of blood time right here.
And a chance for Askey to go over to the bench and conference with the Minnesota coaching staff. The athletic training staff's been busy today for the Wildcats as they're cleaning up the left hand, it looks like, of Chumbley. Meanwhile, Askey in conversation here over on the Minnesota bench, and there's Chumbley getting checked out to make sure he's not bleeding anywhere else.
Yep, got to be careful in this sport. And Askey right now getting coached up by Michael Kemmerer, the former Hawkeye. First year in the program and long-time assistant coach Becker. These guys, man, they embody wrestling. They're good guys to have you good in your corner. Michael Kemmerer, he was a technician in that top position at Iowa, and Trevor Chumbley proving that for Northwestern. He's doing a good job in the top position. All these Wildcat wrestlers have been so far. This is going to be an exciting end of the match, and I've been so impressed with this Minnesota wrestling, this culture, the environment. Everybody's into the match. Everybody's on their feet. They're, every guy's trying to coach them up. It's sometimes like you got too many voices in your ear, but we're just getting some taped up right now for Trevor Chumbley.
Yeah, the right ear as well as the left hand being attended to on the Northwestern side of things. Got to get him through the next 119. You mentioned Michael Kemmerer, and it's hard at Iowa wrestling to really stand out in the record books and do something that's never been done before. A 5-time All-American as a Hawkeye, the first wrestler for Iowa to ever do that.
Yeah, and I think there's some COVID implications there. Michael Kemmerer, not everyone goes to college. Some people go to college for 7 years, as you said, and Gable Steveson, another guy who's been around a while, and the COVID rules, they're doing some fun stuff. We get to see some of these guys a little bit longer, and I know the wrestling fan base is a lot happier. They're good for the sport.
Of course, this is the last academic year that we're going to see pretty much all of those COVID years utilized. Under a minute to go in the third, still 1-0 plus potential riding time in favor of Trevor Chumbley. Stalemate reset, 50 seconds to go.
Yeah, and Chumbley's so comfortable defensively. Askey is going to have to get creative with a takedown here.
Trevor Chumbley must be just so frustrating to wrestle against.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be his practice partner, I'll tell you that. We can finally get that first stall warning, and that's an important one. If And right there, good takedown there from Askey. Got to the leg, able to redirect a heck of a takedown there.
Huge for Askey, and now it's Chumbley who's got to find something.
Yeah, that riding time point is secured, so if we get an escape here, it's a tied matchup. It's going to be tough to do, though. This mat return right here is key.
Under 20 seconds. Askey, after doing not much of anything for 2.5 rounds, dominant here in the final 30-plus seconds, and looks like he's going to finish the day with a win for him, and capping off the win for the Golden Gophers. Very impressive by the number 8 wrestler in the country there at the end of that 3rd round.
That was a lot of fun to watch. That's good wrestling on the edge of the mat. That's good mat awareness right there. And the mat return, that was what's so important. With 20 seconds left, if you can get that mat return, wrestle on the corner of the mat, that's the kind of day it was for the Golden Gophers.
So it's a decision victory for Askey secured at the end of the 3rd